This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Imagine you're looking at a scale. Put everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other. Not balanced? Maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. Do that in therapy at betterhelp.com/allies.
Hello, welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'm Daniel Bloodworth, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. This week I'm joined by Brad Ellis.
Hey.
And Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
Making it all happen in the control booth. We got Isla Hink.
Hey.
And Gabby's back there, keeping an eye on us.
Gabby.
Friends, we're here to talk about the biggest headlines in video games this week. Xbox's first developer direct had a massive surprise. We got to check out that new SteamWorld game, and Avengers is disassembling. But before we get started, we must answer for the mistakes we made in last week's episode. Isla, begin corrections music, please.
Boop.
Damiani.
Oh.
Genshin Impact is currently on version 3.4.
Oh, wow, so it's past 3.3.
You were saying like 6 something.
Oh, I thought I corrected myself and said that I got confused with Final Fantasy or 4.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
okay.
3.3 was that Scaramouche or whatever fight or whatever.
Got it.
So if I was saying 6, I mean, patch, come on. Too many goddamn patches, man.
True, there's a lot.
Sorry.
Also, some people were objecting to saying that they don't have big pushes for their expansions because they're saying that both 2.0 and 3.0
Yeah,
had big launches.
All right, it's outside my sphere, that's all.
Yeah. While we were talking about the Callisto Protocol sales, particularly that it was 17th place in December's NPDs, I neglected to mention that it was one of those games that doesn't include digital sales. It had the little star by it.
Oh, really?
Because it got carried away in all the other discussion that had been going on that
Interesting.
week. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's similar to Nintendo and 2K, to where they don't show us the digital.
Interesting.
Isla.
Yeah?
So Let Us Melt is not an iPhone game.
What?
It's worse.
Oh, right. It was right.
It was released for the now discontinued Daydream VR by Google.
What the hell is that?
It was
I've
Google's
never
like.
even heard of that.
Is that the one that was like you put your phone?
Yeah, you put an
into
Android into the slot.
like the Samsung
yeah.
Glass or whatever the
They
hell
like
it
the
was called.
HTC.
Gear. Samsung Gear
Yeah.
VR. That was another one.
Weird, dude.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, Google.
It doesn't look like it's been put on any other platforms, so
Ouch.
Classic.
stuck out there.
Classic Google, dude.
If you have a correction, leave it in the YouTube comments on either the public version or the Patreon version of this episode. Start with the word correction so it shows up in my search, and include a timestamp so I know what the heck we were talking about. End corrections music.
Boop.
Blood, were you the one to say, like, hey, write correction in the timestamp for there? Did anyone else do that before you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Very efficient.
I think that's blood tech.
Blood,
yeah.
very efficient.
Yeah, making sure I find them. You guys know the best way to start a podcast.
Game announcement!
You know a better way to start a podcast.
Shadow drop!
Hi-Fi Rush
Yeah!
came out yesterday. This was revealed in the Xbox Developer Direct. We got a little bit of a tease that something was going to happen. The name of it had kind of slipped out there a couple of days early. I didn't see it until I was doing research for the podcast. And like, oh, there were stories about that. But then like in the Direct itself, there was like, you know, we knew about 4 games, 4 developers.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Tango Gameworks. I'm like, what the crap is Tango Gameworks doing on here? And then last thing we would have expected from Tango Gameworks.
A very bright and colorful and jolly game.
Yeah. And it looks so good.
It
Dude,
looks very good.
It is good. I played it for like 3 hours the other day.
Wow.
It rules. It's like, yeah, shockingly good. There was a weird pro tip. Maybe it's probably just me, but in the tutorials it has 2 bars, and
Okay.
I thought the top bar was my bar, and the second bar was the bar.
that's just the instructional
showing
bar.
you
Yeah.
how you're supposed to match it. No, the first bar is just 2 measures of nothing. So I was screwing up the tutorial, and I thought I was going insane because I was like, I'm on the rhythm. What's happening? But I just wasn't playing it the 3rd and 4th measures because I thought it was over. Anyway,
But
don't do that. But otherwise, the game rules.
yeah,
It's fast. It's colorful.
It's it looks like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
The cell shading is fantastic.
That does look good.
Lots.
That's the thing. The thing that really surprised me about it is that it does, because sometimes you'll get a shadow drop and it's like they shadow drop it because it was like a budget title and they wanted to drum up excitement for it or something. It's like a tactic. It's like strategic. This feels like a high budget, really serious game. It's awesome. The quality is there so far. Anyway, I'm like 2 or 3 hours in.
Yeah, and like even the thing is like from the makers of Evil Within.
Yeah.
It is just like something that couldn't be any more different.
Yeah, I think that's what's also great about it too, though. We love Tango Gameworks here, big time. We love survival horror. We love all that stuff. Me and Huber really like Ghostwire Tokyo, but it's like really cool to see them try just like the complete opposite and subvert all expectations. And I really like that it's just a smaller project.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish more like first party people would do that. I wish Sony would do that more. I think of like
the thing, Brad.
Puppeteer.
Maybe it's smaller in terms of like
Maybe
dev
not
team,
budget wise.
but I'm saying that like it from all accounts so far, it sounds like a full length game. It's not like just a shorty little experience. So
yeah, I don't
wild.
think it's necessarily like 3 hours or anything like
Right.
that, but yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I just got to like the home base, and I'm like 2-3 hours in. So
Yeah, that's great.
And there's like upgrades and moves and combos you can get and stuff. So it seems pretty cool.
Yeah,
And long.
I would compare it to like Puppeteer, that kind of like tier when it came
Right.
out, like similar price thing at the time.
There's
It's
been a
just
lot
like-
of comparisons to Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, of course, yeah. You see that and you're like, oh yeah. Especially that shot of the kid jumping up and you see the whole city. It's like, oh yeah, that is Sunset City or whatever. There it is.
Well, and it transitions really seamlessly from those cutscenes to gameplay.
Yeah.
the
Right,
camera just goes whoosh, and then you're playing, and
That's
it's
good.
like really, really smooth. It's cool.
Yeah, and for people who haven't heard about this yet or checked in on this,
8 to 9 hours apparently.
it is like
Great.
an action combat game kind of thing. However, everything is done on rhythm. So the better you time your attacks, the more like bonus and stuff you get out of it. But also the cutscenes are on rhythm, and all this other stuff is on rhythm, and it's like there's cues everywhere. So like you basically can see what your rhythm is supposed to be, even if you aren't good at hearing it, by like looking
Visual
at your
and
life
stuff.
bar, looking at things over here moving around.
That's
It's
cool.
like the whole world is your cue, and you can even turn on like an extra little bar if that's not enough.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it looks really great.
A really nice touch is that your attacks always land on beat, even if you don't attack on beat, which doesn't feel wrong. It feels cool. You just get better points if you're on beat. So you don't get the kind of like, if you're not doing well in Guitar Hero or whatever, it like janks up all the music.
Right.
It increases it adds parts and stuff to the music sometimes when you're doing really well, but like it never loses that kind of flow, which is really cool. You get really into it. It's really fun to play. I don't know. I love this game.
And since you haven't been streaming it, Isla, you've gotten to hear like the actual.
I've been playing it with the real
licensed
music,
songs
yeah.
in there. Yeah.
So far, it was Black Keys and then 9 Inch Nails was the first boss fight. So yeah, and then a song in the middle. If it was a licensed song, I didn't recognize it, but I think it was just an in-game song, which wasn't terrible either. So yeah, pretty sweet so far.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to shout out is that like there's been a lot of talk about dialogue this week.
Yeah.
And it seems to be really well done here. Like they got the right actors for this vibe.
For sure.
To where,
yeah.
it just works. It just feels like fun.
Yeah, I think because of the tone of the game also. It's just like way more out there, bombastic, like in your face all the time, ramped up.
Yeah.
Forspoken probably has like a lot. I haven't played Forspoken, so I don't know, but I have like a lot more slower moments and stuff like that. Taking your time, like settling into the world. And this is just like, looks like 0 to 100 immediately in this game.
It's also like, as Forspoken maybe exemplifies, like it's hard to write convincing like sardonic or sassy dialogue, but this game succeeds. Like the main character is like lovable and goofy and like snarky sometimes, but he's never like laughing at the world, and he's like just kind of accepting things. He's like, okay, cool, I have an iPod in my chest. That's what it is, you know. Yeah, it's good, and your partners that you meet up with are really charming.
What do you think about this whole crazy combo of a shadow drop for a high budget, good looking game on Game Pass?
Yes, I think it's a great idea and awesome and super effective. I think it probably helped this game even more, just get even more attention. If more people do this, I am into it. I would love to see more of this.
Do you think we would see this from a third party?
A third party?
Yeah, because this is Xbox.
Yeah, that's happened before. Like Apex Legends and stuff like that. Just here it is.
Free to play game.
Huge game, yeah.
True.
I think some games are different. I can't see like $70 game maybe necessarily. The only thing I could see blood is Skull and Bones if they're just like, no, just get this out right now.
Shadow drop that one.
Right now. Yeah. But I could see for like smaller, like cheaper games or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe some indie games.
Yeah, Damiani, you weren't here for the direct itself. What's your take? How are you feeling about it?
It looks cool. I haven't touched it. I see a lot of people playing it. I'm scared of rhythm games though, but it's good to hear it has some options to make it a little bit more playable if you're not digging that.
It's got really good accessibility stuff too.
Yeah. I think it was a good idea I think the Shadow Drop is good because as a new IP, especially coming from who's responsible for it, you would like the longer you let that like the between announcement and release, people start like speculating or can they really pull this game off? It's like, no, it's just out there. Go play it. Like you don't have to do any speculation. Just like you can now play it right now and make up your own mind, which is kind of like I think that was really smart to do that.
Yeah.
Alas, I could not add it to my fantasy critic team because it's already out.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully I get a chance to jump into that soon, but it's looking good, and I'm excited for it. Moving on to the rest of that Xbox Developer Direct. Did you get to check it out, Damiani? Did you see any of it?
No. Full disclosure, I was told everything that was in it ahead of time, so I was like, I'm not interested in watching this. And Hi-Fi kind of like already leaked, so I was like, all right, so that's cool. I'm curious what everyone like the presentation I keep hearing about how is a in between of not quite like a direct, but like this like unique thing that Microsoft's doing. And obviously I've seen State of Play, so I'm very curious about your thoughts in terms of do you think it worked well or does it need more like adjustments as a presentation format?
I think to me it personally worked well. And I think we were all, kind of on that same page. Like, especially when you compare it to Inside Xbox, which before we were just bored out of our minds with that stuff. It's interesting because it's like, okay, it's still developer focused. It still has people come in there and talk about the games, and you get to see the people that are making the games. But it just feels so much more like on point and directional and not like it's just wasting your time with a bunch of marketing bullet points. They're telling you the things that you mostly want to know about the games. And for anyone that isn't familiar, the games that they had there is they had Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport 5, Hi-Fi Rush, Elder Scrolls Online, and Redfall.
I keep forgetting about Elder Scrolls Online was there as well because I keep thinking 4, but it was actually 5. That was
and they completely they didn't have any kind of like single host. So they basically would just like go out to kind of like this, say like a whiteboard or whatever, where they had the 5 different developers on there, and they would like, circle one and like, okay, we're going over to this place now, and then you would be introduced to that team just naturally on camera. They would, introduce themselves without anybody like having to set them up or try to make a through line. The through line was just circling things on that board, and then when they finished a presentation, they go back to the board. They would like put the release date on that square, circle that, and then circle the next one that they're going to go highlight.
Yeah, I'm curious if they will maintain this style though,
Yeah.
or if they'll, each one might be like different. Because State of Play has kind of found like, it's kind of standard now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, yes, they should do this because no one would get hyped like they do about Nintendo Directs or State of Plays for Xbox stuff. We are always like the Inside Xbox, whatever it's called, before we're just like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And it's like, okay, this is a great first step. So maybe you can get in that conversation now. They need that kind of anticipation for people. But I think it works good with this Blood because it was talking a lot about the games or like the devs telling you about the game. But if you're not into the games they're talking about, I think it may be long for you in some of them. If you're just like checked out for 7 minutes or something like that, where like a Direct or State of Play usually is just more of the trailer, usually more about that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is State of Play and Directs have become more about just like back-to-back trailers.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of those can go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I actually do kind of like seeing like a little bit more of a game, even if
Sure,
it's not like a straight-up gameplay demo.
Yeah. State of Play does like specific ones for games now too, though.
Yeah.
So I guess
yeah,
that's
and it sounds like that's what they're going to do for Starfield.
Yeah.
They're going to do
exactly.
one full
I think
thing on
that's
Starfield.
Exactly what they should do for Starfield, yeah.
And Nintendo's done that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a good
They're learning, so that's good.
good format to follow.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know where you all stand on Redfall after seeing it here. Like, are you feeling like it's in a good place?
I'm feeling good about it. Like, I like Arcane, though, already, especially, like, this team. Like, I love the Dishonored games, but it's like, I can see why people aren't into it. It's really hard for me to say because it's an open world game, and I feel like you have to spend a good amount of time with that game, or you're gonna have to like, understand it, actually. But, like, there's things in there that I know turn people off right away, like, just seeing, like, loot numbers on your gun that can turn people off, but, like, I think the world looks really great, and I want to kill some vampires. So, yeah, I'm in, dude.
Yeah, I think I'm more in than I was. I think there's still some room for skepticism. I think in particular with the multiplayer. I feel like it's built more single player first.
Okay.
With like people joining up with your.
They haven't gone in depth in like how it's gonna work exactly. They're just like team up with your friends.
That's where my questions are. Especially they made the statement recently about clarifying about the typing. It's not like Left 4 Dead.
It's not. No, it's open world.
Yeah.
It's not like stages.
Yeah, you're going to like like safe houses, getting missions, then going out and doing the missions, and then like they talked about like there's these like psychic instances or whatever where like you get brought into this realm that's just like full of vampires and you destroy the blood heart and then you gotta escape before the psychic realm collapses. And so there's like a lot of different types of missions, it sounds like.
It's always so funny to me because I feel like Arcane, they even said it in this, but they're always just like, our games are pretty hard to define. And then instead of trying, they just do some kind of like jokey thing, And I'm like, but try though, because I really want to know what this game is, because I like your stuff. I just don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think it's true though, right? Because it's like,
totally true.
You've got a first-person action game with a bunch of RPG powers and an emphasis on stealth.
Yeah.
They talked
with multiplayer,
They talked briefly about like, hey, we're Arcane, so there's multiple ways to go through this level. Or just I was hoping they would like show an example because I feel like they did that with Dishonored in the past. Like, I'm not expecting this game to be as like
or with Deathloop maybe
as many options as those games. I think it'll be less because of your player characters, but I would like to have seen that or something like a different character's approach on the same area or something.
Seems like they gave a date for it, so it seems like they have time to maybe do a follow-up.
May 2nd on that one.
They have time.
May 2nd.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that like kind of where you expected it to land? Like
yes.
that date?
Microsoft said everything was supposed to be out in a year last summer, so
plans change.
By a date. So like that was like my two big questions.
Sounds like Forza might be slipping a little bit beyond
was
that.
We haven't shifted to Forza yet, but that's my big question. You Blood was that enough? Were you surprised us? 2023, that's it. Like it's like,
right.
Oh, really?
Well, and then Keeley said it was like late June, and I'm not sure where that came from. I don't know if that was in a blog post or someplace else, but it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Not really the ideal month for me. But I guess if it's late June, then maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I could get a start on that after E3's wrapped
I
up.
would think Starfield like has to be after June now. it's like they're filling up
Right.
a lot already.
Yeah.
It's like, why you should just release that in the back half or something. You can make it your big holiday game, I guess, and that's probably the one to do it with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think when it like after the dust had settled, thinking about what they'd said about Forza, like I really did feel like I didn't learn a lot about the game. I learned a lot about the tech and the engine and just like
They
a
talked
lot of
about
stuff that like just felt like the same stuff you're always going to improve in a lot of ways. Like, hey, look, we've improved the dirt on the cars, and hey, look, here's our paint, and here's our audio, and here, we're gonna have ray tracing on track at 60 frames per second, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's.
But
pretty
otherwise, I don't know, like, how are you shaking up the formula at all? And I think that's something that Forza Motorsport fans kind of want to know because it's been in this weird place since 5, really.
Oh, really?
5, 6, and 7, like they just really haven't hit the highs of 4. And 3 and 4 were both like top of the class, genre-defining games.
Yeah.
And then everyone since then has had some caveat.
Even though it's, different type of game and differences behind them. Do you think the success of the most recent Horizon puts extra pressure on this one? Maybe.
I think so because it used to be, every other year. Forza Motorsport every other year, and then it was sort of like they picked up Playground to do Horizon to fill in the off years. And now Horizon's kind of kept going, and Forza's been working on this, and we don't know when it's coming, and that's good. But it's like after all that time, don't just tell me that it's better technically in all the ways that I expect it to be better technically. Tell me what you're doing new with that amount of investment.
Yeah. I already worries that like Horizon just become like the way people like it should be going, and like what is there anything that really they can do with the with standard Forza that like?
Oh, it's just a completely different class of game.
Yeah, I get that, but like maybe that's like it's the broader appeal one now, perhaps.
Oh, Horizon, I think is.
Yeah.
But you're still like you're not gonna scratch the same
itch.
No, like you play Gran Turismo 7. That's the closer analog to Forza Motorsport. It's a totally different experience than jumping across a hill and, racing a freaking train, stuff.
I just have like no idea what they could do with that one that like what the you were saying like players are expecting, since they haven't really advanced in the last few entries, like what are those types of innovations or like formula changes, as you said, that you're kind of like, is there anyone you could think of that you can give an example?
Test.
Right. That's the thing. It really comes down to,
modes, features,
continuing to improve that balance of bringing people into this, hardcore genre that normally wouldn't be. And like Gran Turismo 7 did a very good job of that. Even as somebody like me who like I play a lot of those games, there's still aspects of those games that are usually pretty intimidating, and Gran Turismo 7 made it welcoming to get into those features, and that's where Forza had always excelled.
Okay.
Like they, put stuff in there like, the driving line and like the rewind and like all these things that like, when hardcore racers like first hear about it, it's like, oh, that's terrible. You're like watering it down, but it's like, no, actually you're just making it easier for people to get in here, get comfortable, and then start turning things off the more they want to challenge themselves.
Gotcha.
And it's like they got so much of that right so early on that it feels like now it's like, with 5, 6, and 7, it was just sort of like, okay, adding more car numbers to the mix and, trying to shake things up in ways that don't really make sense and that kind of thing. So it's, and it's also in a weird spot too because of like, the entire series, all of Forza Motorsport, has been delisted.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot buy a Forza Motorsport game right now.
Forgot about that,
Is it just because of licensing stuff?
Yeah. This is the car licenses only.
Dang,
they only
crazy.
sign them up for so many years.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. Dang, it's wild.
So, like, I expect a lot out of this team, out of this series, and I want to see more of that. And so hopefully, like Starfield's getting a full thing, then hopefully Forza gets a full direct as well to kind of walk people through that and see what's different.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I didn't even think about all that as someone who's like not a racing person at all. But I'm like, yeah, totally. Like for you, you're like, well, 500 cars, that's cool. It looks nice, but yeah, what's going on though? What am I going to be doing in the game actually? Hope they have a cafe.
Yeah. The cafe was fantastic.
Yeah, I love the cafe.
Drive up, learn about the cars.
Yeah, it's
go
cool.
out, do a couple missions with them.
It was very cool.
Surprise for us, Damiani. Minecraft Legends.
Yeah.
Actually looks
Looks
really
pretty
fun to jump into.
Looks pretty fun, yeah.
They specifically, because there is like a full story mode and all this stuff, but they specifically focused on PvP. And so you can, you basically like, you have your base that you want to build up, and then your opponents have a base that they're building up, and it's like 4-on-4 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But you can have like one person that's focused on building. Huber's basically like recruited Isla to build the base.
Yeah.
While he goes out there and attacks.
I'm on it.
Mm-hmm. And then like you also like recruit mobs and stuff. So it's like you don't just like go in there on your own. It's like you knock down a wall and like let an army.
Yeah, this guy had like 50 things with him or something, like archers or something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll have like more depth to it beyond like a few hours or whatever.
Right.
I just wonder how much there will be there. But there's nothing wrong, just a little mode, I guess. But they did sell it pretty hard.
Yeah. And I think that's just the thing is like I don't expect a lot out of it.
No.
But I didn't expect to be interested at all.
Yeah.
And so I think that it was a pretty well done
surprising
presentation to where it's like I could see us doing
great stream
playing
game.
this a couple of times. Yeah, doing a couple streams with it.
Absolutely.
And then ESO is just a black hole for us, but it
looks fun.
It does all, it always looks good. Mm-hmm. They always talk about how, their expansions are built to where it's like, hey, if you're just interested in this expansion, you can hop in and start playing that. You don't have to worry about catching up on the rest of the content.
That's definitely a plus for that.
Yeah.
Also, featuring here, you can't argue that they're not giving it a big push. So,
Yeah.
They're saying this area hasn't been shown off in the series since like 1994.
Oh, that's cool.
So revisiting, something like that, saying it built up to modern standards.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
That was fun.
And then it's only the third new class that they've introduced since ESO launched.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy.
My question would be how many, I don't know. You have the answer, but how many classes do they have in it already? Because they have a ton of them, then it would make sense. But yeah, like a RPG-focused MMO.
6.
Oh, wow, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Like an MMORPG only
Maybe
having
6 right now.
Yeah,
Let me check.
That's insane. Not adding that many classes. I feel like.
Yeah.
I
don't know how much depth there are to them. I'm not sure either.
There's got to be a lot if there's that few. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume so. I hope so.
Yeah. Here's another crazy thing. So the game is already accessible on Game Pass, but most things on Game Pass, it's like you can play the game, but if you want to play any of the DLC or whatever, you have to pay up. Mm-hmm. Temporarily, all of the chapters and all 20 DLCs you can just hop into right now on Game Pass.
What free trial, baby?
Yeah. Not crossplay though. Keep that in mind.
Oh,
I gotta figure that out.
Yeah,
big time. Especially the MMO on many platforms. Got to figure that out.
That and Monster Hunter, man.
Yep.
It's like gotta get that together.
Just get it together.
Yeah,
sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it launched with 4 because there are 6 now.
Wow.
So,
okay,
yeah.
That's not a lot.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
But they've kept that thing.
Just keep it going. Yeah. People love them Elder Scrolls.
And I remember, Ben did a preview for one of the expansions like a couple years ago.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
And it's just one of those things. It's like it's off the radar, but if you dive in, you can get sucked right into it. Yeah,
I believe it.
But yeah, so Minecraft Legends, April 18th. Forza Motorsport, sometime this year. Hi-Fi Rush is out already. ESO, I want to say it was at June 5th or June 20th.
Yeah,
There's like some split date there.
What was the thing called?
Necrom.
ROM?
Yeah, with an M.
Okay.
June 5th.
Okay. I wonder if it's like on Xbox later or something like that.
Remaining platforms June 20th.
Yeah, there we go.
PC and Mac June 5th. Remaining platforms June 20th.
Oh yeah, because it's also on PlayStation and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Redfall May 2nd.
Yeah. Not a bad first half.
Yeah.
Xbox showing up this year. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
They're
a
pretty absent last year, so it's time.
really good start. And obviously we'll see how Redfall is. But
Yeah, definitely.
Hi-Fi Rush is definitely
A nice start.
very good start. Another game announcement.
Oh.
SteamWorld Build.
yeah. Cool.
So they had a presentation on Monday morning, and I just watched through the whole thing before the podcast. But then Isla and I also played Build a little bit.
Yeah, for easy update this weekend.
Yeah, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But this presentation is interesting because it wasn't just about Build. They did announce Build there, but they talk about it basically as if they're like relaunching the SteamWorld franchise in a way.
Oh, what? Okay.
So they have 4 games in development, including Build and Headhunter. Remember that Headhunter teaser a while back?
No. I don't remember.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember like what the details are. I think it was supposed to be like a shooter or something.
Okay.
Or more of a like third-person action game. But anyways, and this SteamWorld Telegraph that they did is like the first of like this series of like smaller community videos that they're going to do. So they're going to keep people updated throughout, and it won't just be game announcements, but they'll have like stuff on the lore and all of that kind
that's
of
fun.
thing, and just like really, just get all the SteamWorld fans together. The intro, yeah, there's definitely some weird things in this. The intro, like they shot this whole scene of him like going into like this saloon with like a cowboy getup and everything on, and like ordering like a water and a whiskey glass, and then some woman's like over there playing with her Steam Deck, and like he sits down and starts bothering her, and he's like, "Hey, it looks like you're playing a SteamWorld game." yeah, I make those. Like,
That's weird, but fun.
Okay.
like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
I have the elevator pitch for Headhunter.
Nice.
SteamWorld heads in a whole new direction. Directly following the literally earth-shattering events of SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Headhunter is a stylized and colorful third-person co-op action-adventure with a head-popping twist.
Third-person co-op action adventure.
Yeah.
Got it.
So pretty different.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually something that he mentioned, was that like SteamWorld is just kind of like this wrapper that they can put any kind of
I was
genre
gonna say so, yeah.
into,
Definitely.
and they talked about how like every game that they've made is basically a different genre. Like even Dig and Dig 2, even though they're like side-scrolling action games, like the first one is more straightforward and the second one is more of a Metroidvania take.
Yeah, because the first one was procedural and the second one was actually Metroidvania.
Yeah. This one, Build, is and also like a lot has happened, right? So like before, Image and Form were just like this whole like their own like small company, and now like they've merged with a bunch of other studios, and they're Thunderful now, and they're kind of head of Thunderful, and so they've got another studio in Thunderful that is making this.
Okay, yeah.
And they brought those out. Well, what's funny is he rolled the trailer a second time before bringing out the devs. I'm like, why are you showing me the trailer twice?
Yeah, it is weird. But okay.
I know people who do that. They're not the only ones.
Right. But they talked about just the development a bit more. They said that it takes place during the end of SteamWorld Dig 2.
Oh. Keeping the continuity.
So just like how Isla was saying for Headhunter, like it happens after the world blows up.
Yeah, because Heist is after that too.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So these guys that are in Build, making this town and mining these resources, they're doing so to make the rocket to escape.
Yeah.
They're going to be in one of the rockets.
Oh, cool.
Well, and yeah, that makes sense because while we were playing it, the ground kept shaking every so often. So the planet's about to crack apart. Jeez. Awesome. SteamWorld.
Yeah. And it's going to be on consoles as well as PC.
Smart.
And so they talked about that where like every step of the way, anytime somebody wanted a feature, it's like, okay, how does it work with the controller? And it's like, yeah, it's just
smart.
all the way through, making sure that it all fits.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. to put in Hubert words, looks jolly as hell.
Oh my
like
God,
that's above ground city. And then like I was about to say, oh yeah, maybe they'll throw like dig like underneath, but then it's like you go underground and you're getting ready. So it's like, oh, they already thought of that. That's pretty cool. It seems very intimidating though. I wonder if it's more complex or about par for the course.
It's fairly complicated. Just in the demo, the thing we realized is like you can see the area of effect of each like building, and if you build better road systems, like you can be really strategic with your roads, and so they can reach everything. Like if you made a really like thoughtful grid or a spiral or something, it would be really good. But like you really have to manage that stuff. So it's pretty. I haven't seen a lot of that in a lot of games like this, so it's kind of an interesting spin on it. And then the underground stuff is really cool, and you need a lot of workers to get everything going.
Yeah, and that's and to put that in context, they also released the demo.
Yeah.
So the game's coming out later this year, but that you can get in the demo and you get a feel for how that loop kind of works and that interaction, because it took a while for us to like build the town up enough to be able to go in, and get the miners to go underground. And then, there was like prospectors that you need to get like the scrap and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, they're talking about just sort of that back and forth of like the stuff that you do on the surface affects what you can do underground and vice versa.
Yeah, the demo is out right now. You can play it right now. Everybody on PC.
But yeah, I'm really interested to see what else they've got for this.
Two other projects besides Headhunter and this, right?
Yeah.
Or is Headhunter already announced and not part of the 4 that they were alluding to?
They said 4 total that they're working on.
Okay.
What's weird is during this presentation, they didn't reference Headhunter at all.
Okay.
So they said 4 projects in the SteamWorld universe in the works, including SteamWorld Build.
Okay.
So I can only assume that Headhunter is still in development. They didn't say it was canceled. But
yeah, because when was that announced?
It's a while
21? November 21 looks like. Yeah. Who knows?
Another thing that was kind of cool in the presentation is he walks through an old steam-powered factory in Gothenburg.
Whoa, cool.
So, and it's like showing like this is kind of like where like the inspiration for all of this came from.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's like it didn't just come out of nowhere. It's part of the history of their city, of the developers live in. Very nice.
Very nice.
We like those games.
Yeah.
We've got more news to come, but if you've been enjoying this show so far, please take a second to like and subscribe and ring that bell on YouTube. It helps us and it helps you stay connected. And now, a word from our sponsors.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When do you feel like your best self? For me, I feel like my best self when I've created something in a day, like written something or made some music or something like that. And if I go for a little while without being able to do that, I get kind of like bogged down feeling. I get kind of like, I don't know, bummed out, And when you're at your best, you feel like you can do anything, right? Or at least I do. But sometimes, you get bogged down, you feel overwhelmed, and for me, it feels like a meter, like it's like piling up. And that's why I speak to a therapist every week, because it helps me to like offset the pile up, the burnout, the other stuff, and helps me remember that, sometimes thinking about creating a thing or just working through a story beat in my head is just as good and just as important, and I didn't like waste the day by not creating something on that day. Maybe I'm too hard on myself. I got to talk to my therapist about that. But talking to a therapist helps you feel like more empowered and helps you feel more able to take on what life throws at you. At least that's how I feel when I speak to a therapist. It's really helpful, and I can learn positive coping skills for when I'm feeling really down. Sometimes you can't control how you're feeling. It's a hormonal imbalance or whatever, and like they can give you tools to help you deal with that. And I think that that's very important. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, and you get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists anytime for no charge, which is really, really good. I say this every time, but a lot of people give up on therapy because their first therapist that they try isn't a fit, and they think that means all of therapy is bad for them. No, it's just, it's like dating. You got to find the right person. You got to find the right, don't date your therapist, but you got to find the right person for you to help you speak your lingo, your brain language or whatever. I don't know. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/allies today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/allies. Do it. New year, new you. You don't have time to cook. At least I don't have time to cook. I don't know how to cook. I don't like cooking. Factor is here to help us achieve our goals and stop wasting time on cooking. I don't have any energy. I get home, I don't want to cook a meal, feed myself. That's ridiculous. That's like adult stuff. I'm not going to deal with that. That's why Factor's ready to eat meals delivered straight to my door get me through the day. They're like really good. You just heat them. They're great. Get Factor and you skip the trip to the grocery store. You skip on chopping, prepping, cleaning, all that stuff. You don't need to use a bunch of pots and pans. I only have like 3 pans. Factor's fresh, it's never frozen, and the meals are ready in 2 minutes. It's like wizard magic. That's really quick. You just heat it up and eat it up. That was a nice one. I like that. They've got keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, protein plus, all kinds of stuff prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians. Each meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. With 34 chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options, you can shake it up. Try whatever you want. And I get way too much takeout. And Factor helps me cut down on that because it's a big time waste of money to get takeout for every meal. You know this. I know this. We all know this. Factor saves you there. And if you're vegan, you need veggie options. They've got you covered. Enjoy clean eating without the hassle. Choose your meals, flavor packed, delivered to your door, ready in 2 minutes. Achieve and maintain your goals this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Saves you time, and you can eat well and have your best year ever. Head to factormeals.com/allies60 and use code allies60 to get 60% off your first box. That's code allies60, ALLIES 60 at factormeals.com, FACTOR meals.com, factormeals.com/allies60 and get 60% off of your first box. Check it out.
And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. All right. It could be the last of Us.
Oh, could be.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, there's been a lot with the show. There's been a lot of interviews flying around, and it's funny because like the story kind of like fluctuates week to week. So like I think last week or the week before, Neil Druckmann had told somebody, "Is like, yeah, we got in a place where we could do a part 3 if we wanted to. There's kind of an outline for something that could happen." And then this week he kind of says, or we could just end it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's basically saying that they could move on from The Last of Us the same as they've moved on from Uncharted. The big quote I've got here is, "For us, Uncharted was insanely successful. Uncharted 4 is one of our best-selling games, and we're able to put our final brushstroke on that story and say that we're done. We're moving on. Likewise, with The Last of Us, it's up to us whether we want to continue it or not. Our process is the same thing we did when we did part 2, which is if we can come up with a compelling story that has this universal message and statement about love, just like the first and second game did, then we will tell that story. If we can't come up with something, we have a very strong ending with part 2, and that'll be the end."
I don't think the ending of part 2 is strong, or it doesn't wrap it up in a bow nicely as Uncharted 4's did, I feel like.
Sure.
I feel like with 2, there's still
or like
more,
the first Last of Us.
or the
yeah.
first Last of Us. There's still more that they should tell. I think. Like after I beat the game, I was like, well, you have to do a third one now. You got to. After this, how this ended? Yeah, you have to. But I mean, they could, I guess, but I don't believe it. Part 3 coming.
Yeah, I think they just haven't committed yet. They're just like
Yeah, and they're not going to say we're making
Yeah.
part 3 yet when factions, like we barely know anything about it still.
Exactly. I think they're full speed on factions, and they seem like they want to be very ambitious with that.
Yeah.
The narrative aspect of it, like promising it's going to be significant story. I mean, this is what Huber keeps screaming at everyone to like pay attention to it, because it's like they're saying they're trying to do things they haven't done in multiplayer game with narrative storytelling, and if they can pull that off, I mean, that's significant. That's still more Last of Us, technically. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that is like Last of Us 3 right there.
Yeah,
It's like,
part 3 is in
yeah.
that. Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that, again, if factions or whatever it ends up being called, does take off and is as successful as it should be, like we're talking Sony live service game here, and like if there's going to be a bunch of story in it, then that means you're going to want to be releasing new chapters of story as well.
I could see that. Yeah,
like how many years is that game going to be evolving and telling the story of The Last of Us just on its own?
Yeah, it's a big commitment to keep that going, I guess. I'm not sure how big
It's
or
like
how many
depressing
teams
Fortnite.
Depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure
We'll get
is.
Drake in there sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, that is funny. I wonder if can you have goofy stuff in faction? I don't think so, right?
I imagine like you have a concert, but it's just like on a broken TV, half covered in moss, like laying in the street.
Yeah,
and like a few characters are like looking down on it, and they're like, "What the hell is this? Who's broadcasting this?"
Or also the other thing too is like, okay, well, you think through is like, okay, if they do put celebrities in this game, do you put them to time accurate? Do you age everybody up by like 20 or 30 years?
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Ooh, chat saying that the performer can die in the middle of the concert and get killed by clickers.
That'd be
Ooh,
awesome.
but then the clickers like click on beat and it adds like a hi-hat. Like,
Or
That'd
what
be
if
pretty
you
sick.
just if you look at a clicker's face really closely and it turns out to be Lady Gaga?
or she's worn clothes that look pretty much like that anyway. That meat dress, remember the meat dress,
You sure
Bloodworth?
I don't, but I might have missed it.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't all follow the exploits of Lady Gaga too
Gaga.
closely.
I guess it's the sort of exciting thing to potentially think about is if moving past factions technically is what's after. Like what if they're moving on from The Last of Us and they're not going back to Uncharted, what is next for them? Do they do
a Hi-Fi Rush? Right?
I mean, yeah, like
I bet they would love to do something.
my
like
question
that.
is it another going to be like heavy hitting story driven like game like they've been doing before, or will they try their hand at something completely different? I'm very curious.
Probably won't be Jack. Tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because they've kind of built a niche for themselves with these serious kind of adult games. And now with the show doing so well, and it's encouraging such sales of Last of Us 1 and 2 and the various remakes thereof, like, are they trapped? Like, do they have to make a similar thing because that's what everyone expects out of them? Or could they drop a hi-fi?
Or, you could basically blend the both of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
Like do something that's like adult animation,
Yeah.
where it's like you have a heavy hitting storyline, but you also have like a very colorful, bright
Ninja Scroll
aesthetic.
game.
Yeah.
Whoa. They tried that, I think, with Jack, and they said it looked really weird, and they didn't do it. Yeah, I think they were trying something like that with Jack for Jack 4.
I hope they do a new IP, though.
Yes,
Like, I want to see
would
them
love
do
to a
something
new IP.
just, even if it's serious and somewhere in the realms of Last of Us or Uncharted, like, something completely just new would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, The Last of Us is super good, but it's like you did 2, then you did part 1, and you're doing factions.
Yeah.
It's like let's get something in there.
Yeah. Time
Just
to
a little
change-
something.
time to
Something.
do something where you can't just use the same the art.
Yeah.
Use the same
Yeah.
concept art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. At the very least, drastic shift in like time periods.
Right.
Because I mean, Uncharted's like action real world, modern real world, and Last of Us is apocalyptic modern world. So it's like, can they do something like set in like sci-fi, like in space, or they go back into the past and set it
like the 20s or something?
No,
That'd be cool.
yeah, there you go, like a noir game.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're a roller skating paper delivery boy in an alternate world 1920s. And you have to help your father battle alcoholism. There you go.
Jeez.
That's your pitch, Naughty Dog.
At least that though, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, this is all happening because The Last of Us is doing extremely well.
Yes.
HBO show is breaking records for the network. And it's also like pushing a lot of sales on the game. I saw like the UK box charts. It was like 238% higher or whatever.
It's like we saw this with The Witcher.
Yeah.
When it came out.
Absolutely.
And it's coming to PC pretty soon.
Yeah.
Also. So
yeah, because it's 9 episodes, right? So that PC version is going to be hitting right in the end of that.
Get them in perfectly calculated. Yeah.
But it's also really funny because they had just said, hey, we're going to wait to announce our games until they're closer to release, because then it puts all this pressure and we end up causing these crunch issues.
And they're just casually talking about possibilities. I guess they technically didn't announce anything, but it's just like, why are you talking about this right now? Why are you bringing this up right now, Neil?
Yeah.
But it's like, same thing. It's like, hopefully the next time they show their next game, it's like a year away or less.
Yeah.
I think the Capcom way, it seems like nowadays, except for Dragon's Dogma.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2.
Well, if they did shirt reveals, I'd be into that, I guess.
But I mean, Last of Us Part 2 was almost a shirt reveal. Like, they didn't have a game yet. They just had that cutscene.
Oh,
they were just
right.
barely starting that.
I think that's what they did with
PSX.
Uncharted also. Uncharted 4 was like super early too. Yeah, they need to cool it on that. You don't need to show your game that early.
I like nebulous shirt reveals where someone has like a really cryptic pin or shirt on that like 3 years later you're like, oh shit, that was for this game. That's fun. More of that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have been pointing out, like, it's been a good while since Metroid Prime 4 was announced, but it's like, that game started over.
Yeah, they restarted the whole game.
So
internally canceled.
Yeah. Speaking of internally canceled, Avengers is disassembling.
Great segue.
Dude.
Brutal segue.
It's officially winding down. You're still going to be able to play single player and multiplayer indefinitely. But after March 31st, there will be no new features. And after September 30th, there will be no more developer support.
Yeah.
Whatever that means exactly. The marketplace will also be shutting down on March 31st. And this is actually kind of a cool thing. All of the cosmetics and all that stuff that you can buy on the marketplace, they're just giving that to everybody for free.
So if you bought stuff... wow! That is so funny.
Any credits you have left, they're just going to convert into like resources that you can use in game.
All right.
Yeah, the game's dying. So.
Yeah, I know. That's just funny. Like, it's cool if you haven't played anything like that, but that.
It's like a social experiment about how people will react to forgiveness of college debt. It's like, we're giving away all the cosmetics, but I bought those cosmetics.
Right.
I mean, he shouldn't have bought Avengers cosmetics, I guess.
yeah, that's on you.
I mean, I get it. They were buying into to support. They're showing their support for that. So I mean, if they're not like throwing any kind of bone to people who would been supporting the game for that long, that's a little weird.
It felt like to me is like someone's bleeding out. Okay.
Okay.
Someone's bleeding out,
we're going
and you're buying your cosmetic. It's like putting a Band-Aid on it. You ain't gonna save their life. It ain't gonna do anything.
It's like they're bleeding out, and you put a new shirt on.
Butterfly Band-Aid on it.
But I mean, I imagine there's some people who like the game despite all that.
Of course, people like the game. Yeah, of course. We know I know people that multiple people that like that game.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine. But I mean, I guess like any kind of thing they could do now would just be like an empty kind of like platitude because the game's dying. So it's like, here's a cool thing for you. Get to use for a few more months.
To be fair, they supported this game much longer than I thought they would. I thought they would have cut the cord on this like a year into it or something like that. But it came out in 2020, right? I think so. In 2020,
I think so.
Fall 2020. Longer than I thought it'd be going.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird because it just never
September 2020.
Yeah, it just never really even felt like they did everything they should have done.
Nope.
Like the rollout of characters and all of it was just
Nope.
so
Started
slow.
when with Spider-Man being like,
Oh,
when's that happening? I think that
PlayStation.
was the first sign. It's like, what's going on with
Are
this?
they gonna put Spider-Man in other consoles?
No.
Oh,
It's not happening.
oh,
That one's not
happening.
being set free. Sony was like, nope.
that
can't have that
superhero's
one.
ours, dude.
But I mean, I guess just like, does this officially bring to kind of a close the
Western chapter?
the Square Enix chapter of the Marvel
Right.
video
Well,
game
I mean,
universe?
that's kind of one of the points I was going to get to is regardless of how this game has been going, which has not been super well, Crystal Dynamics has been embraced.
Yep.
You know,
They
like
got
they are
embraced.
no longer a part of Square Enix, and so like maintaining that relationship
Doesn't make sense.
over the long term is just kind of awkward. They're already working on Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
They're helping out with Perfect Dark. You know, like
Yeah,
they,
they're very
really
busy.
need to like
Get out of
cut
there.
the staff loose
Yeah.
and let them work on their own projects.
Damn.
Yeah, I also wonder about the licensing. Like, is Marvel this has been like, yeah, we're done. Like, you know, maybe there's like a renewal period, and like we're done. Like, you
That
showed,
could be true.
You showed us what we did, and like we'd rather go in this direction or something. I don't know, because like
We're going to Insomniac.
I mean, yeah, we're just going double down on Insomniac, and it's like, yeah, they've
Well,
they've proven
EA's
themselves.
got
EA.
several on the books too.
But that's maybe it. They're like, well, maybe we want to try some other companies. Like you gave it your shot, and you know those aren't the results we were looking for. So it's maybe just been a 1-2, like the great time. Like let's let these devs go because you know they're being brought over to another company, and the license we don't want to re-up this license one
Right.
either. So it's a nice clean break for them.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Big time.
Snap's doing super well.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it's great.
I wonder how Midnight Sun sold.
It sounds like it's not been great, but you know they're still supporting
Yeah.
it right now. That Deadpool DLC is about
yeah.
to come out, and
Came out in December, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not a great time for
Bad
that.
time, and like that game also like I think has a like just genre a little working.
I was
against
gonna say I don't think it
yeah.
has mass appeal. I
Yeah,
think like
exactly.
yeah, it's gonna
People
be
can figure it
a
out,
bit of an
obviously.
uphill battle. I think even beyond genre, I think the Midnight Suns
Yeah.
theme is just so foreign to most
Yep.
people that
Mm.
aren't following the comics directly that it's just like, what is this? Why are there demons and all this
Exactly.
going on? Yeah,
it,
yeah.
It feels a little bit more like you have to be part of that like culture to like you're already ingrained in comics and understand what it is to like
And at
an
the s-
outsider. It's like this
At
is
the
weird.
same time, I think, having that big full ensemble cast,
Oh,
which is a strength of Midnight Suns
Mm-hmm.
in a way, but I think it is weakened by Avengers and
Sure.
by Marvel Snap. And it's like, hey, if I want to play a strategy game with a bunch of Marvel characters, I'll just play
On my
Marvel
phone.
Snap. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
Maybe.
but yeah, I do hope for more Midnight Sun sales to pick up.
Yeah, sure.
Because the people that have been into
Enjoying
that
it?
game
It
are,
seemed
are
good
really digging
from what
it.
we played.
What I played so far, it seems good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for Axis,
Yeah.
yeah.
Quality developer.
Yeah.
how long do you think it's going to be before we see another attempt at an Avengers specific video game?
Avengers? Great
yeah.
question, Damiani.
Yeah, because it does
Wow.
feel like it's easier for them to push, a single character or a smaller group of characters.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's been doing really well. People are psyched about Wolverine. Iron Man VR is kind of got a second life right now that it's on Quest 2. It does feel like it's a little bit easier to sell when you can just put one or two faces on a box rather than the whole gamut of them.
Yeah, even that Wolverine game, it's like the depth of who else will be in there because it's not like a X-Men. So as far as we know, it's not like an X-Men ensemble. So I wonder if they want to stay away from other than when it makes sense for like a Marvel Snap or Midnight Suns, where these more single player focused action adventure games, they're just let's pick a hero and let's focus on them and have some supporting characters, but the ensemble thing maybe. They've learned that lesson and don't maybe want to go back that route because I think it's going to be a long time before you even see them try Avengers again.
Lego Marvel was pretty good.
Yeah.
Ensemble.
Yeah, and I think, game design wise, it's just so tricky, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you put Captain Marvel and Hulk in the same game? it doesn't really.
Suicide Squad's what I'm looking to see
Yeah.
how they. I mean, everyone's gonna shoot in that game pretty much, so or a lot of them will, but it's different. But I'm curious to see how that game will turn out, and if they'll see that and be like, okay, we can make this work or not.
I mean, it sometimes doesn't even work in the movies. Like they have to like shift people's power levels between movies. You know, it's like, oh no, in this one, Scarlet Witch can't just rewrite reality, but in this one, she can. You know, it's just like, whatever.
Brad, tell me about the dichotomy of this game, because it seems like a lot of people really like that first run through the story of Avengers.
Oh.
Compared to the grind that came afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a campaign, actually, where you got to, like, know the characters or whatever. Like, you getting to go through this campaign, understanding the characters' motivations. And I think it was just better than people expected, because everyone was kind of like, about Avengers. But in campaign, you're like, all right, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Pretty good campaign. It was cool to be, like, all these heroes you love, you know? Instead of just being, like, in a weird mishmash thing, you're just beating up thugs, and it feels extremely outdated somehow still. It's just like it felt like an actual video game, Blood, more so.
Right. Yeah, do you think that
But it had
do you
focus.
think that was the mistake? That if Crystal Dynamics had just been able to make that game and make it better without all the live service stuff, that
maybe
we would be having a different conversation
I
about
could
it?
maybe see that. I feel like the whole sell of this game was like, be the Avengers with your friends, you know, beat up dudes. I think that was a sell of the game, but I think it probably could have been a stronger game. And it's hard to do that though, Blood, because there is a lot of them. So like bouncing around characters like that is very tough. But I think they did a pretty good job with it. But I don't know if it would be good enough still to like hit the expectations they want. Like I assume, Blood, you know, they wanted this to be, you know, like Batman level, Arkham levels kind of thing, and it wasn't nowhere near that level. It was like fine though.
Yeah.
But you know, it's Avengers. It should be the best thing around. But yeah, I don't know. I think, so my idea, Blood, I think they should do is, I don't know if they will, is build up to an Avengers game.
Right.
You have the games with all the heroes individually, then you do one with all of them, so you have that connection to them already.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, because I think one of the issues from the time this game was first revealed was there's just sort of that jarring comparison to the
they're
MCU.
like, I don't like the way this Thor looks.
Yeah, I don't like how this guy looks. I don't like how this person looks. Like, this guy talks kind of weird, you know, and
It is kind of surprising though that like the MCU, Kevin Feige and stuff are just ignoring games, because it seems like kind of a no-brainer to fold it in with the realities. I mean, I guess games can go on longer than the movies, so they can't like be situated in a certain point in time as well, but like I don't know, it seems like kind of a missed opportunity to like explore other, like you could have all the, instead of doing like a movie or show for all the Hell's Kitchen stuff, you know, you could do like a game of the Defenders and like kind of fill in that blind spot and have it be MCU official, you know? I don't know. Whatever.
We might get that though.
We
now.
could, yeah.
With Insomniac, I think of especially with Wolverine.
This clears the way, yeah.
Spider-Man. Like, I don't know if there'll be like an X-Men game like you said or anything like that, but like I could see things being connected somewhat. Like there's got to be some like nods to Spider-Man and Wolverine. There's no way. I refuse to believe there won't be.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And then with EA too, whatever they're doing, I have no idea.
but yeah, but that's the thing. That's them, you know, them thinking is like, if you had gotten a chance to warm up
Yes.
to each of those takes on those characters, then, you know, rather than getting it all at once.
Yeah, I think that would have been a better idea. Maybe a cheaper idea too. Maybe.
But a much longer term investment, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely
it's like, if you're going to have that stuff.
But at least you could test the waters with it, you know, instead of just like going all in on like you're going all in on like the final thing, the final act, and it's gone. Instead of you can just build up slowly to it. Bad move.
Yeah, I suppose to answer the question about why the Marvel proper doesn't get more directly involved in like trying to connect these things, I think it's just game development. You know how long it could take.
Logistical nightmare.
Look at all like the stories that have come out about their production for their shows and their movies, about how they're like based on an eternal crunch to hit these insane schedules. So like special effects people are just being, you know, kind of run into the ground and treated horribly just to like get these things out. I mean, there's already enough of that running around in like game development. I think that would just like
They just need to
crash and burn.
put out some games with bad CG. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, Avengers has got a little bit of that.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, with the MCU, it is kind of crazy to think about it because it's like everything has to come out in order.
Mm-hmm.
So if like one of your movies falls behind by 6 months and the other one is coming up, you kind of in a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got to shift everything back.
And also, like, yeah, you're right. That's it. Yeah.
Chat points out that they did do some tie-ins in Phase 1 and they were not very good. So,
Right.
good point.
Yeah. Oh, the original Iron Man games.
Yeah.
Damiani remembers the second one. They had the Thor games too. Woo!
And Captain America too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Thor, Captain America.
Well, when you make
Iron
bad
Man.
games, it doesn't help.
Yeah. Also this week, crossovers. They always get me. Like a Dragon Ishin is adding AEW's Kenny Omega.
What?
As well as actor Rahul Kohli.
What?
As trooper cards, which activate personalized special attacks. So you have this card, and so if you have Kenny's card,
You can do One Wing Angel?
yeah,
What?
yeah,
Dude, okay.
but it's just like a big
okay, hold
sword
up.
sweep, like a
Hold
circle.
up.
Yeah.
I just remembered they've had actual like wrestlers in past Yakuza games and stuff.
yeah,
So why the hell not? I guess Yakuza is off the rails constantly, so it fine. Yeah, makes sense. Whatever.
Sick.
yeah, and then Rahul's is called Essence of Firestorm. It's just like a crazy like blast of fire.
Dude, sick. Yeah, sure. Those games don't make sense already. It's fine with me.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder how they came to that for him.
I don't know.
I don't think he can blast fire out of his hands, as far as I know, but
No idea.
actor Rahul Kohli.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too. It's not like any specific character.
Yeah, it's just him.
Yeah.
Just a nice man.
More summer news. We talked about that huge wave of layoffs last week.
Right.
Oh,
They just
yeah.
kept going
Damn.
after we recorded. In particular, EGM Now has completely shut down.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
hear about that
Washington
one.
Post decided to ditch Launcher, which was their
Right.
gaming vertical, laying off 5 of their staff and
Damn.
then shoving the rest of them into other parts of the Washington Post, like the style section is where video games will be because that makes sense.
Newspapers.
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that they were actually doing well, growing and bringing in new audiences. So who knows what the measure is?
Yeah. How much?
Like what part of journalism is growing? Like I don't.
Great question, Blood.
Not-
Really
not-
good question.
It's all growing negatively.
So it's like, why would you get rid of that?
So you could
this
say
is happening.
it's shrinking.
Yeah, it's shrinking. Oh, that's another way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just endlessly frustrating. Particularly because, that's where like the big media companies still lack a lot. You know, like people were making fun of CNN the same morning because they're saying like until recently video games were just for children. And I'm like,
yeah, you got
what?
people still saying that stuff.
Like, why don't you have journalists in your newsroom that actually are
Yeah.
well versed in this category of entertainment?
Yeah, they're talking like it's 1988 or something.
Because
Yeah.
it's for boomers, and then they still
Yeah.
think that's the narrative.
That's
so,
true, yeah.
I mean, some of it's just the demographic they're going for. They don't. The more nuanced stuff, they just goes over their head. They don't even care.
Yeah, but it's just like any news outlet, TV, radio, newspaper, magazine. Like if you've got sports editors and you've got movie editors and music editors, why don't you also have game journalists on your staff at this point?
I guess maybe just because there's so many things out there just on YouTube or something like that. The gaming coverage is such a competitive field. Like, I don't know about the other fields. I'm not sure, but it's very saturated.
I feel like game coverage just has evolved beyond those traditional
Yeah.
formats, and that's where most people who want to find out about that are going to get it. So it's
Right.
just it's a little bit of disconnect.
I think it's a chicken and egg problem, though, because I think that they've never been able to get that from those kinds of sources. You never turn on the 6 p.m. news and find out about a game announcement.
I mean, but also like they never for the longest time they never took it seriously. So if you were into that stuff, like it would be maybe they were covering it, but like you'd read it and it's like this is a very surface level thing. Like this isn't meant for me. It is meant for like broader audiences. But I think the broader audiences didn't want to hear any more than that. They're like, then it gets too technical. It's like I don't want to understand this. Like just it's like a cool headline, like water cooler talk that like a new GTA came out. Everyone's going to talk about that at work tomorrow, or whatever. That's what. But like a new like SteamWorld Build comes out. Like I just think like larger people who are outside of our sphere, just like what's this like. In like the 80s and 90s, like that type of announcement. Whereas today, there are a lot of people who are really excited about like the SteamWorld Build announcement and any new SteamWorld, but they go to the appropriate places. Other places have just supplanted them. Like that's like where news goes. It doesn't have to be through the old-fashioned big outlets. It's just how it is. And like someday when we get older, like we're like looking at our video game coverage, there'll be something else like, why don't they cover it on Twitch and stuff? Like I want to watch it on Twitch or YouTube. And they're like, what is this other place they're watching their news on and stuff? Like, same thing. Like people, and then they'll be asking, why doesn't like Twitch and YouTube cover our stuff like this? Because they're the old fashioned ones.
Yeah. I guess the thing I push back on that as well, though, is all of those people exist for these other things too. There's certainly people out there, podcasting and on YouTube and everything, obviously talking about movies, talking about music, everything else.
Well, movies have been around a lot longer, and I think they've had time to like establish that in those like.
I think we've had enough time at this point.
I think we have too, Blood, but I think like Damiani said, it took too long for the higher mainstream outlets to like do good game coverage or something like that we would want to get invested in, but it's like.
But I think the thing is, with the Washington Post, this is an example of like, okay, they started doing it.
Yes.
They were attracting a younger audience that they didn't have.
Yes.
And now they just...
So it worked a bit, but I assume it didn't work enough to turn a profit. And how long they wanted to bleed it, I don't know.
Also, radio, television, films history is so intricately tied to like major American corporation, like American history through like the 20th century. Like there's a whole backbone for all of that for like 100+ years. For most of that stuff, supporting it through both technology and like all like the major news outlets being tied to those stations and studios. So like that's it. Games aren't. They aren't now as they're getting gobbled up, we might start to see that going forward at some point. But for as short as video games history they've been around, they haven't had that same kind of like progression and system in place that they had. So I think it's just the product of radio, television, and films being so intricately linked, and how tied they were to a lot of like the largest American like business and economy. That's why it got such standardized like coverage and big stuff, whereas video games doesn't. Even the same thing with like sports. Sports is a part of that as well. So video games, I think, are just late to the party, and they're a little bit outside the normal box, despite how big they are. They still really, look at the narrative around, we just talked about The Last of Us, like how many people are still using, even within our own games media, people calling it the video game curse and stuff like this is the one that finally broke it. There were a history of really bad adaptations, and it took a while, but like there have since been several good ones that have like broken that mold, but yet people still push the narrative that this is the one that finally broke all of it. It's like, wait, what? Like that's the thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like scale-wise, like Avatar 2 made $2 billion, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold 4 million units, Like, I don't know the dollar conversion there, but, like, it's smaller by a lot, and that's a really popular game. Also, film started in, like, 1895, and newspapers didn't start covering it until, like, 1915. So, I don't know, and there's a broader appeal. So I feel like main newspapers and stuff have they relate to the party, did it wrong, and no one read them, so they stopped, Magazines have tried it, and they all went under, so it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. The market corrected itself with other mediums.
I think, you're a good point. Like, I think movies are better, the early movies, because, like, radio and television news programming have been kind of at the start of, like, both of those as well, like, just giving those news. So, like, obviously they're going to talk about like television and music and music coverage that way, whereas like movies took a little bit while. And then the evolution of movie technology going from silent films to getting sound and then getting color. It's like same with television. It's like, oh wow, like the video games are still like we like are just getting to like HD standardized development. Like we had went from 2D to 3D, so that's like, and there's still 2D games, so it's like it's kind of like all over the place. Like yes, there's a lot of different like film styles and genres, but I don't think it's any animated and live action are pretty much like the biggest jumps. Whereas like 2D and 3D video games, some people I think is like a way bigger thing to like grasp. Like it's like so different to them to see those things together. So it's just I think video games is like extremely broad and complex. Development of them takes so much longer. Like it's just I think it's just like it's like harder for layman people to like fully understand and grasp beyond like the popular pushed narratives. And and unfortunately, there haven't been enough people that like have been in the position to push back on those at those high levels. That's why we have all of our outlets and stuff. It's like, okay, no one really gets the opportunity to do it, so we'll just do it ourselves, And this is where everyone comes to watch and enjoy all this stuff. And as you see, like when people do get into those positions at those outlets, it seems like historically they all just get like trashed very quickly. I feel like this is like the 20th time I've heard of like a major news outlet or a major like publication in mainstream that like tried to have a video game vertical and is like bye like a year or two later it's like it doesn't work out, and it's like this keeps happening. I just don't know why.
Well, in the
anything
landscape,
different.
Think of the layoffs from last week that we were talking about, or G4 or any of these, where it's like even bigger outfits that seem like they are doing the right things, quote unquote, if there is such a thing, and like would theoretically know what they're doing, even those don't seem to be financially viable. And so it's just like, it's such a, and I mean, if I had the answers, we'd all be making way more money, like it's just such a weird, like part of the entertainment sphere that's like weirdly bizarre for monetization and like hard to succeed in as a group or a company. Much harder at least than a solo streamer, It's just wild to me. And it's like, even though, the Game Awards has more and more and more viewers watching every year, those numbers are still smaller than an opening weekend of most like major films, by a wide margin. So it's just like, for us, even though video gaming seems like this huge thing, it is still, as the New York Times so weirdly said, a niche interest, because like to most people, like it still kind of is, which is weird to think about. I don't know. I don't know how to I don't know how to make any of this work.
Right.
Hey, even the people who paid bigwigs don't know on some of this stuff. Was that headline about streaming? All the CEOs like, maybe all these streaming platforms was not right. You see that headline? They're like, apparently they're like, this isn't going to work. We need to go back to like physical media and stuff. Like, what? It's like, okay.
Yeah, but bigwigs don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Somebody was watching.
Otherwise, their wigs would be the right
bunch
size.
Maybe they were watching a bunch of night scenes.
What, in like Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
It's not just Game of Thrones. Oh boy. All over the
There's
place.
a good video, a couple of videos, I think Vox did them, where it's like, why can't you understand any dialogue now? And why is everything dark now?
Yeah.
They're pretty interesting because it's actually like, there are technical kind of reasons for it. It's interesting.
Yeah, nobody put up lights.
Yes and no. It's complicated, but
World of Warcraft Classic lead Brian Birmingham left Blizzard after being forced to give an employee a lower performance evaluation than they deserved due to required quotas and the company's stacked ranking system.
Yes.
Craziness.
Yeah. Definitely not the first company to do this kind of stuff, but
It's like
not a good system.
You give,
Just stop.
You
Just
got to
stop.
give somebody a thumbs down.
Yeah, just stop.
Not allowed to have a
thing.
group of hardworking people.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just stop.
why require your employees to suck? It's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I guess Gabby's on the top and bottom of our employee rankings. The only employee, woo, best and worst. Employee of the month.
A game that kind of went under the radar, Road 96,
Yeah, Don and I streamed a bunch of that.
Yeah, getting a prequel.
Oh.
Road 96 Mile Zero. You can roll that footage.
I'm rolling it.
Explores why Zoe decided to leave home and set out on her journey. It also stars Kaito from Digix Art's first game, Lost in Harmony.
Whoa.
Okay.
So they're like from opposite spectrums, like opposite classes or whatever, and they get together and they learn from each other. And apparently, it sounds like he is the one that kind of convinces her to set off from her cushy, rich life and challenge the system.
By roller skating.
I don't know why roller skating, but roller skating is a big part of this. So in addition to the branching narrative gameplay, which Road 96 had and seems to return here, there is also, they skate through these like metaphorical music segments, which I guess somehow in the midst of that, you're making narrative choices as well. So
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty interesting the way it's all going to be set up. It kind of reminds me of Sayonara Wild Hearts in those parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Chat points out, and it does seem to be correct, that the games industry does make more money than the film industry.
does. Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell's going on.
It makes, a lot of money.
Why can't news coverage succeed then?
Oh, worth noting that Road 96 Mile Zero, April 4th,
Soon.
coming out real quick.
Okay. Cool.
After serious domestic violence charges came to light, Justin Roiland has resigned from Squanch Games shortly after Adult Swim announced that they were also parting ways with the creator and continuing Rick and Morty without him.
Oh no, where are they going to find someone to do 600 characters with the same voice?
The Dark Picture Switchback, which was supposed to launch alongside PSVR 2, has now been pushed back about a month to March 16th.
That's not too bad, yeah.
Let it cook.
Yeah, let it cook.
And finally, both the IGF and GDC Awards nominees were announced this week. For GDC, Stray and Elden Ring are tied with 6 nominations apiece.
Oh,
Stray?
the cat's coming for you, Elden
The
Ring.
Stray is everywhere.
People love
Stray
cats.
DLC and Elden Ring.
Okay, all right.
I'll spare going through the
Genera-
full list since we did this with DICE a couple weeks ago. But the GOTY nominees for GDC are Elden Ring, God of War, Immortality, Pentiment, Stray, and Tunic. So
Huh.
Yeah, seems pretty on brand.
pretty good list there.
Rogue Legacy 2 snubbed again.
Snubbed again. It's a good game.
It's time for Love and Respect. Love and Respect from Ian Granolati. In the past few months, we've seen the release of Saints Row, Gotham Knights, and Forspoken. 3 AAA games that flopped critically and will underperform financially as well. It seems that multi-platform AAA games are not doing so hot. Do you think the industry is due for a shake-up to AAA game development? What lessons do you think big game studios will learn from these big budget flops?
I don't think AAA gaming's in trouble at all. I think AAA gaming is doing just fine. Call of Duty comes out every year and does just fine.
Yeah.
I think Dead Space will do pretty damn good too.
Yeah, the reaction
I think
to
it's
that
gonna do
today
really
has
well.
been very well, yeah.
I think it's a pretty safe bet. Resident Evil 4 Remake's going
Gonna
to
do pretty damn well.
well.
I think if you just make really good games, they sell more.
Yeah. I mean, you're describing games that have different challenges for them being AAA. So a few of those, games as a service. So it's especially when some of them weren't previously a game as a service game, that's obviously a little bit of a uphill battle. I don't know. I don't have the. It seems like maybe too soon to say Forspoken's a financial disaster.
I think
people
too
are just
soon. I also
assuming
want to
that.
push back on this because Gotham Knights
Sold very
I
well.
was gonna say, yeah.
was one of the top 20 games of
We just did the-
2022.
we just did the freaking MPD, and you were like, it's in there.
And I would not classify Saints Row as AAA. It's like we want to be seen as AAA.
Yeah, it's like double A.
But yeah.
Yeah.
AAA minus.
AAA minus.
I wonder what the
like
budget of
that.
that game was. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
fair point. They were not happy with Saints Row, and
That's
they're like,
true.
hey, Gearbox is your boss now.
Well, they made a bad game, so people don't buy it.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe more what the takeaway, like, they're just badly received games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Spoken's case, I mean, any kind of new AAA IP that you're just saying, like, big new game, like, never had anything in it, but like, you have pedigree, basically studio pedigree, and that's it. And it's like, all right, that studio sort of worked on Final Fantasy 15, and it's like, people have mixed feelings about that game. Some people really loved it, some people didn't like it, and it's like, all right, that's kind of an uphill battle there to do it versus like, doing. As far as I understand, Redfall's new IP, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
And it's like, but Arcane's history, it's like, they have some good pedigree here, so that might be a little bit, have a better chance.
And Damiani, like you said, that it remains to be seen for Spoken's financial results, but I think it remains to be seen the reaction as well, because it's like the reaction we're looking at right now. Is critics and day one memes, right?
Day one
memes. And you look back, you look at there are a lot of Final Fantasy 13 defenders. There are a lot of
now there are
Days Gone defenders. A
always,
lot of people love Days Gone.
It always happens. There's a game that's like hated on, and then the years go by and people actually really like the game, feel comfortable enough to come forward and go, actually, this game was pretty good, and I'm going to say why. And they don't get as much pushback anymore. It's like people hate it on so much. They're like, enough time's passed. I don't care about it anymore. Like, you want to enjoy it, but that's what should have happened in the first place. Like, people want to enjoy it, cool. People who don't enjoy it, it's fine. I think it's what gets annoying is that when the discourse becomes rather than just like a bunch of different opinions kind of like clash it against each other, which can technically be healthy, it feels like people are trying to prove points, and like, my opinion is more right than your opinion. And also going for memes and the comedy entertainment value is like, oh, that was so funny and stuff, that must be right. Like, that's like the new thing. Like, you dunked on this so hard, like, that's what's going to spread. That's going to be the narrative for this. And that, is like unfortunate. And it's like, I just personally like to stay out of that till like the dust is settled, because I think, honestly, like in just the case of Forspoken, it's going to land in, people are like, it was like, okay. I think that's how most people are going to come out if they give it a chance. But yeah, it's just,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with like disliking it and like not liking any part of it. I think it's the way people are saying it. And
right.
Yeah.
Let's keep that going. That thought going from Justin Coppins. Hey, allies. First off, I would like to thank you guys for all the content. It has helped a lot over this year. My question is with Forspoken. How can someone give it an 8 and then another outlet give it a 5?
Opinions.
I mean,
is it just expectations or something else? I find it hard to ever get excited for anything ever since getting in touch with games media. Thank you in advance. P.S. I named my firstborn Michael because I want him to have the same outlook and jolliness of Michael Huber.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love and respect.
Aww.
Someone tell Huber that.
I did.
Oh, nice.
He gave a big tears emoji.
Aw. To my own kind of like correction, timestamp at Bloodworth. As far as Forspoken has gotten as low as like 4s.
Yeah.
Hardcore Gamer gave it a 4. It's gotten as high as 9.5. So how can one outlet give it a 4 and then 9.5? Like, you're almost running the full gamut there at this point. Right. I don't know. Even when when we look at like aggregate scores, I mean, I feel like even like the best games end up having like a 2-point swing between the highest and lowest.
Right.
Like, you'll see at least like 1 or 2 outlets. Like, again, we get a bunch of 9s. Like, you'll see like maybe 1 7 or 2 7s in there, or at least that. And it's like, that's just some people, it's an opinion. And like, just like, it's some people enjoy a game more. I think it's about actually listening or reading the review, trying to figure out what the writer or speaker's values are, and do they align with yours. I mean, you take multiple, and I think you kind of like take that information. It's like, and then look at gameplay of it, and like, you have so many ways to be like, oh, I think I can form my own opinion on this game about whether I'm going to buy it or not. And then, maybe just like if there's demos where there is a PC demo for Forspoken, if you can get it to run, maybe play it for a little bit. There's also I think they might have delisted the old demo. That's why I don't think it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people are looking for it. Maybe it's still up there, but there was a demo for this too. But also,
That's kind of funny to me. Like, wouldn't you want people to be able to play the demo to see if they want to buy the game and then immediately go buy the game?
I think the problem with the original demo is it was getting some criticism for being. I don't think it was a very good demo.
That's true. Okay.
If that was like,
I've seen it famously, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Oh,
that demo probably destroyed that game.
Oof.
Whoa.
The
That game sold very well.
No, it didn't. Sell.
Yeah, it did. Kingdoms of Amalur. I'm pretty sure it did very well.
No, cost the studio and the state that funded the studio a lot of
Are
grief.
you sure? Are we thinking the right game?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
But
Chilling game. Yeah.
the demo was so broken that I couldn't complete it.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, like just full on crashing and stuff.
Yeah, if you're doing that, that's not good. That's the risk of demos, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would. Kingdoms of Amalur had to sell 3 million units for 38 studios to break even, and it sold 1.2.
Oh, okay.
So it
I thought it sold well.
did very poorly.
Damn.
Yeah.
Big places. Yeah. Like we go back to the question. One thing.
I was thinking of a different game. Sorry, the first-person game. I was trying to think of what that game was. It was like a first-person.
Kingdom Come? Asks
Yes.
Gabby?
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking of, I believe.
Wasn't there like a bunch of controversy around?
I don't
Whatever.
know. Who cares?
Gotcha.
There's controversy with every game.
On our,
Not all controversies are created equal.
on our own show, Trash Babies. When we play games that are below a 6, it's like there have been some where we're like, why is this game getting like a 6? Like, how below a 6 is like, this has to be like very bad.
Yeah.
Like when you start getting to low, like obviously the scale means different things. This is the thing.
That's the thing.
It means
different
things to
different people.
everybody. And like,
Well, and also like, I mean, an anecdote, not naming any names, but like Minecraft back at the game trailers, we had to get into like an argument with someone about the review because they thought the graphics were just bad and like didn't understand that it was a choice. And they were like, well, you can't say that was their choice. And we're like, it's obviously the choice. Like, that's what the game is. It was ridiculous. And they gave it a bad score for that because they're just wrong. I don't know. So sometimes people are just wrong.
Yeah, so that's what happens with like a lot of games. Like obviously, the game is not great. In my opinion, it's not like even a very good game. It's just like very solid first effort that I think has a lot of potential, but it takes a little too long to get going. I think. I mean, there's definitely more nuance I could get to that we will get into in Frame Trap next week. I could tease that.
Nice plug.
Yeah, so you have to tune into that to check out, maybe more of that nuanced discussion there about what they were, what they did wrong and what they did right. But yeah, and also I think, I don't need to get into it, but I think one of the biggest things for the Backlash is one of their first titles that's coming out at $70. The new price point. So there's a little bit more.
Yeah, we're still dealing with people having a hard time spending
exactly.
that much money.
So there's people who are upset about having to pay more for that. And like if this had been like maybe a bit cheaper or something, maybe it would go down a little bit more, easily for people, easier to digest for them. But yeah, I don't know. Like
I mean, it's like you're saying, it's like different people's perspectives and what they latch onto, and some things click with people and some things don't. And even as a reviewer, like like you're saying, it's like when I give a game an 8 or a 9, and I look over and somebody give it a 6, and I'm like, what? I and I read what they wrote about the game, and I'm like, what? Like,
oh yeah, happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what?
Well, I saw that too. I was getting some people asking like, the review sounded like, we get that a lot. Like this sounded like a 7 or 7.5. Why'd you give it like an 8? Like, those things too. And it's like, whole different discussion.
Yeah.
But like that's also part of the thing. It's like maybe don't focus on the score so much and like watch the footage and listen to the review or read the review. Like that's like
right.
the
Or
important part.
to me, it's like you put the two together, right? It's like, well, if you don't understand how the score, got there from the script. And like, sometimes it has to do with the script, but sometimes it's just like the two things are like mirrors of each other, right? And so it's like you understand the script better when you understand the score, and you understand the score better when you understand the script, And so it's like you can put all that stuff into context because you can't say everything.
Yeah.
No.
And like a lot of things that are
30
good
reviews
about
here.
games
Yeah.
don't necessarily warrant saying anything about, So it's easier to describe the things that are wrong. But yeah, let's play a game. From Cody Spencer. They're putting us on a hot spot here. Hey allies, it's been a little while, but I've got another game for you. Inspired by Let's Make a Deal, I provide you with a video game behind curtain number 1, which you will decide if you want to keep it, or will you blindly take what's behind curtain number 2.
Okay.
Only 1 or 2?
Yep.
Well, this throws the mathematics of the 3 doors problem out the window.
Each of these games is either unannounced or years away from release. Whichever curtain you choose is the game you walk away with in each round. And the other shall remain a distant dream. So it's kind of like kill your babies, but you don't know what the other baby is. Decision made by majority out of the 3 of you. So round 1, curtain 1, you get GTA 6. Do you keep GTA 6 or do you sacrifice it for whatever is behind curtain number 2?
That's going to be a big game then, behind door number 2.
Sack it.
I don't doubt GTA 6 is going to be huge and everything. But like I feel like I personally would rather see something else other than GTA 6. So I'm like,
okay,
I'm definitely
sure.
I don't ever need another Grand Theft Auto to come out. We have plenty of great Grand Theft Auto. I'm good with it.
I want another one, but
I'm good.
Let's see what's door number 2.
All right. Well, you have chosen Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh shit!
Damn it.
We failed. Fuck. Look who's laughing. Who has the last laugh now?
We're sorry,
God
Rockstar.
damn it!
Round 2. Curtain number 1 has Mario Kart 9.
We're done.
Do you keep Mario Kart 9 or do you go to curtain number
Keep
2?
that shit.
No! Fuck them, dude. We're going door number 2.
I'd go door 2.
Yeah.
I hate you guys because Mario Kart 9 is going to be like Mario Kart Ultimate. You get all these new people.
We already
All right.
got Mario Kart 9. It's just a DLC pack.
No, it's all the same characters.
You have sacrificed Mario Kart 9 for a new Metal Gear game.
Hell yeah,
Okay, you
dude.
made the right call. You made the right call.
You can just keep adding DLC to Mario Kart 8 as far as I
Yeah.
care.
That's
They
right.
keep doing it for 20 years. That game looks good.
Yeah.
Round 3, curtain number 1, The Last of Us Part 3.
Oh.
Bye.
Sack
Sorry,
it.
Huber. Huber's not here. Bye,
Sack
Huber. Sorry, Huber.
You have sacrificed The Last of Us Part 3, and you have gotten Dino Crisis.
Oh, Huber's so happy right now.
Woo!
I think you
Really?
probably want Last of Us Part 3
Really? You
more.
think you'd want that more than Dino
I
Crisis?
think he'd be okay with Last of Us ending.
I don't know. He wants Part 3.
I almost want to text him right now. And be like, Huber,
Nah, Dino
or
Crisis,
Last of
baby.
Us
Dino
3?
Crisis.
I mean, Huber wasn't as big a fan of Dino Crisis, nearly close to Resident Evil. Not even close.
Curtain number 1 has a new 3D Mario
That could mean a lot of things.
platformer.
Oh, no, it's probably... I don't know.
They've been pretty different so
I
far.
don't know what else I'd want more than that.
Sure, let's do Mario.
Yeah,
Mario. What do we-
keep door
Keep
1.
Mario.
We are keeping Mario, and we are sacrificing Balan Wonderworld 2.
Yay! We did
Justice.
it.
We dodged a bullet.
We sniffed you.
Justice.
Although I'm kind of curious who would develop Balan 2 and if it could be Naka from jail.
Yeah, in jail.
Like, oh
Balan-
man.
It's a mobile
It's
game.
set in jail.
It's about a jailbreak.
Balan is in jail.
It's a 3D platformer escaping from jail.
Framed.
And then he uses it to escape from jail and
Yeah,
he watches
yeah.
speedrunners do it.
All right, round 5, curtain 1 is a Scooby-Doo Dark Pictures game.
Oh, that's
Dark
cute.
Pictures,
That'd be
though?
cute,
No.
though, but
I hate
kill
that.
it.
I
Kill
hate
it.
that.
Dark picture.
Balan Wonder Jail.
I don't want to see those weird animations. On
It's so
Scooby's
stupid.
face.
I hate people. They're like,
All right, sacrifice.
Scooby-Doo.
It would be fun, but yeah, sack it.
suck.
Sacrificing the Scooby-Doo Dark Pictures game, and we're getting Bloodborne 2.
We did it. We did it.
See?
Oh, we sniffed them all out.
Yeah.
Round 6. SimCity 4 remake.
What?
Don's not here.
Sorry, Don.
Sorry, Don.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Don.
kill it. I keep waiting for you to say door number 2
We're
for
killing
getting
it
the point of
for a new wave race.
Oh, Don! Actually,
Don v.
we don't know
Don.
if Don's happy or not.
Too bad. I'm more
He
happy.
wants more SimCity than Way Race.
Round 7. A new F-Zero.
Kill it.
Kill it.
Kill it! I would save it, Blood. I would try. But I'm out.
You've killed it, and you have saved Metroid Prime 4.
Okay,
Yay!
Blood.
yeah.
All right, Blood, which would you rather have right there, right now? Which would you rather have? I don't want this what if shit. We got Huber and Don what ifs, but you're here. What is it? Which would you rather have?
Gosh. I mean,
Choose Bloodworth.
I don't have the blindness to, but.
Simple question, Bloodworth.
We'll keep F-Zero, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, another 10.
I've already forgotten what the other one was.
Metroid Prime
Oh yeah,
4.
Metroid.
All right.
Chad, if you want to celebrate Don's big wave race win, we have a Don shirt in the merch. It's
true.
New merch.
Last one. Curtain number 1 has Half-Life 3.
Oh.
I just wanted to deny it because it's been so long.
Well, let's do the world favor and say no.
Yeah, let's say no.
I really hope this is a
The
troll.
world's not ready for it.
You have said no to Half-Life 3.
That's right.
For a remake of Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah!
Oh God.
Dude. Yeah. Hell yeah. Make it good. Turn it into a Half-Life game.
It'll somehow have worse graphics.
Yeah.
We flew too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Can't win them all.
It's time for bets. This week's bet, GoldenEye 007 is finally coming out again on Switch, on Xbox, Switch specifically. I'm going to go and I'm going to select 00 Agent difficulty. I'm going on that runway level. I'm going to walk down that runway while crouched. I will fire no weapons. I won't be in the tank. Just walking down that yellow center line. How long will I survive from the start of the runway, Brad?
8 seconds.
8 seconds. Damiani,
18 seconds.
18. Isla,
22 seconds.
22 seconds. Ooh, this is tight then, because I
Did you
had
say 7?
19.
Damn it.
All right, we'll see.
Apparently it's out right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Question, Blood.
Nice.
What if you die before you get to the runway?
Well, then we'll just have to run it back.
Start
and,
over?
Yeah,
Okay.
get it. Yeah. I don't think 00 Agent is that hard.
Well, you're not just at the runway immediately. You gotta go
Right.
through a little spot first,
start-
if I remember.
Yeah, you start in the spot where you went down the little conveyor thing from
Mhm.
006.
Yep.
Last week's bet. Oh, this is fun. Forspoken is out. I went through the top 10 English reviews on OpenCritic, not counting ours, looking to see how many times I would find the word cuff. Brad bet 28 times. Huber bet 21 times. Damiani bet 18 times. You bet 18 2 weeks in a row here.
Wow.
Lucky number 18 here. Isla bet 60 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good bet.
Don bet 25 times. I bet 41 times.
I was thinking 6 per. You know, that's not that
Sure.
crazy.
Sure.
IGN said it 4 times. Eurogamer 3 times. Games Radar twice. Game Informer only said it once. Polygon 3 times. GameSpot 5 times.
Wow.
Destructoid 6 times.
Wow.
The Sixth Axis 4 times. Shack News 4 times. And VG 24/7 twice. Bringing us to a total of 34. The winner, Brad,
Yes.
by 1 point closer than me.
Bad.
Bringing our scores to Garrulous Ducks 2. Quack, 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 and Sleepy Grizzlies 1. Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. We are supported by our viewers. We put these out there, and we ask you, if you enjoy this, if you appreciate it, to go over there to Patreon and pay for it. You can also, if you're on Twitch, you can sub. You can also look below the video on either Twitch or YouTube, and there's links down there to donate directly. But Patreon is the most effective way to support us. Gets us the most, and it also gets you some fun rewards. We've got the Discord. We've got the Suggestion Squad, where you can put in stuff for Stream Team and Trash Babies.
That was the other one.
That was the other one?
Stream Team, we forgot what the other one was. What else?
Oh, sure.
Trash Babies, our greatest show.
There's a community showcase where you can show off all kinds of cool stuff. People are like submitting like crazy stuff they played on the piano and videos and reviews that they've made and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and speaking of reviews, if you go to the Golden Voice tier, you can have Brandon read stuff for you.
Yeah, I've seen some.
And Mellow Fellow is always, writing reviews and getting Brandon to voice them.
Yeah.
And that's it's a fun way to use that.
It's wild seeing that. It's like, did we write this?
Yeah, well, especially when it's like the same game that you've reviewed.
Sonic, I was like,
But yeah, if you become a patron at any level, you get this podcast ad-free, and you get some bonus love and respect questions. And if you go up to that $5 level, you get the completed, finished version a couple of days early, and you get to submit to those love and respect questions and crazy games like we just played. And then you also get extended cuts. You get to talk in that Discord, all kinds of other fun things. And then up in our higher levels, we've got our shout-out tiers. And this month's shout-outs go to Jabawabs, Elthanis, Greg, the Dark Knight Kettering, and Raymond Wheeler III. Shout out.
Shout out.
Brad,
yes,
you won that bet by 1 point.
that's right.
You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped in your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Cool. Check out Damiani's Forspoken review.
Nice.
I just went out. He does good reviews, and I always look forward to see what Damiani thinks about games. I guess final thought. Scores are nice for reviews. They are a mirror, though, like Blood said. Read the review also, or watch the review. Get the whole picture so you can understand. It's more than just a score. And gotta do a sign off, of course.
Super! We're killing it for a new wave race.
Yeah!
Oh, Dawn! Actually,
Dawn v.
you don't know
Dawn.
if Dawn's happy or not.
The Easy Allies would like to thank our Patreon podcast producers. We apologize in advance for all the ally names we are about to misspell and mispronounce. Jabawabs, Elthanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Raymond Wheeler III, Alexander Zirianov, Stomps, Jesse Blue, Bradley Spees, Jay Shee, Jesper Popmel Dufay, Mellow Fellow, Rob Bob Will, Roy Sung. 44 Stars, Anna Croft, Andreas Risberg, Andri, Arvind, Aurelien Grenier, Beaten Down Brian, Benjamin Arp, Brandon White, Brian Kruger, Colton Piccione, Dale Sun, Daniel Martinek, Danny Vlar, Dave Red, DBA, Dimitri Zetas, Discarded Digit, Douglas Chomich, DRD 7 of 14, Edward Gonzalez, Faraz Rizvi, Freya Lawson, Garrett Holfish, G. Levin, Hayden Hargraves, Happy Gaming, Hesperus 84, Isaac Swanson, Jesse Blue, Jesus R., Joey Bruno, Chris Frederick, Kroldmort, Leif, Mango, Matthew Holcomb, Matthew Pauling, Miguel Rivas, Mo Grant, Mr. One Luigi, Nathan Watkins, Paul Sway, Pete Shoemaker, Ronka Q, Raylon, Richard Tappan, Ritz 1906, Robert Stoffel, Sage Mode Q, Sam Handrick, Sigma, S-Snake 24, Stepan Hakobian, T-Beaks 15, The Banana Forklift Killer, Chum Nguyen, Zigazich. Anish Dor, Aaron Haney, Accounts Payable, Adam Henry, Alex McMillan, Alex Monaco, Alex AI, Alexander Irving, Alexander Sheck, Anthony Galvin, Antonio Coyne, Arthur Lau, Barry Tomasini, Blue, Bob Starling, Brian Foster, Bryce Hornsby, Bunny Chen, C.S. Lewis, Katie Garza, Candy Coated Thorns, Chief Uhu, Christian Simniak, Christopher Santos, Clay Roberts, Colin Montaut, Corey Jackson, Corey Landega, Crumb Eyes, Culinary Stud, Cyberboa, Dan Sebring, Daniel Wong, David Aniki, David Wilson, Delisi, DF, Edison S. Prada Jr., Eric Tobias, Espen Gotchman, Ethereal Ether, Fish Flop, Forever Ender, Forrest, Gabriel Aberg, Gabriel Smith, Glenn Olson, Graham, Gustav Strombaum, Hadi Ali, Helen Y, Hitman 47, iSun Chor, Ian Anderson, Ivan Swade, Jack Cullen, Jay Aldiar, Jameson Lapine, Jan Nicholas Frogshirt Tilk, JC3, Jeff ZOVGM Easton, Gerald, Jeremy Ferris, Jesse Fish, Jesse Wilkeson, Joey Din, John Gallagher, John McCullough, Jonathan Gonzalez, Jordan Phillips, Jose Gutierrez, Julius Garcia, Junya Motomura, Carl Williams, Kevin Gillet, Leon Keys, Linson Wu, Luis Ibarra, Lion Crown 19, Marco Hernandez, Materia Addict, Matthias Clare, Matt Karwoski, Mazrim Tame, Megadet, Michael Clendenan, Mike Zero, Mikey Mizek Novak, Mr. Anarchy, Mr. Matity, Nefertiti Jenkins, Nicholas Johnson, Nycrypt, Ninja Kitty Meow, Oragachino, Pablo Rodriguez, Patrick Held, Pojo TMC, RF Switch, Reed Johnson, Richard Ma, Salvers, Sam Sorensen, Samuel Copeland, Sean Eisenhower, Sean Pavlov, Sebastian Trier, Shauna Bowman, Sneaky Gato, Splontot, Strikeout NZ, Sultab, Taffy 9K, Tim Strothman, Tim O'Keefe, TJ Sullivan, Toad Shadow, Tokyo Slim, Travis Ing, Trevor Thomas, Trizac, V8 Dave, Willow Pingree, Wouter DeHaze, Zach Hardy, Zach Wojnar.